The prosecution's star witness is set to take the stand in Sam Bankman-Fried's criminal trial today. Joining us to discuss is the founder of Hodder Law Firm, Sasha Hodder. Welcome, Sasha.
Hey, thank you. Great to be on.
So the circus sort of gets into overdrive today because the Alameda Research CEO, Caroline Ellison, is expected to testify. What do you think jurors will need to hear from her?
Well, they've already heard so much from Gary Wong and some of the other witnesses. I think, it's said that her testimony is going to be one of the most consequential testimonies, but I think, everything's already come out in the first couple of days of trial, even though we have 5 weeks to go. But I think the government will try and paint Caroline as a sympathetic witness. She was the ex-girlfriend. She was love-struck. She was following this, incredible leader that, led her to do criminal activities. And where, when you look at the finances of it, she only made $6 million, which is still, a ton of money in normal terms, but compared to what some of the others withdrew in loans from Alameda, her amount is, pale in comparison. So I think she's going to be more sympathetic, but I think then the defense counsel is going to try and paint her as completely incompetent, pin the whole mess on her poor trading strategies. Sam asked her to put a hedge on at one point that would have, saved a lot of money, but she didn't listen. But even that, it's like, well, they want to paint Sam as not being in charge of Alameda. But if he's telling her what to do, then, who's really in charge and responsible?
Yeah, like it's a strategy of, hey, no one was in charge, so that's why I'm innocent is an interesting strategy at this stage. But that's seems to be what they have allowed to go for. But you mentioned Gary Wang, and he did indeed receive significant amounts of loans. And now we've got the lawyers for Sam Bankman-Fried wanting to quiz him about his reliance on legal advice with regard to those loans. What do you think is going on there with the defense strategy?
Well, yeah, his loans, I think they were to the tune of $246 million. So there's a lot from Gary's testimony that showed active, participation and knowledge and consciousness that this was criminal activity. So, right away, his testimony, it was just completely devastating for the defense team. They asked him, did you commit financial crimes? And he said, yes, I committed wire fraud, securities fraud, commodities fraud. Who with? Oh, Sam Bankman-Fried, Caroline Ellison, and Nishad Singh. And then they asked, what did you do? And he said, we gave special privileges to Alameda and we lied about it. And we allowed Alameda to withdraw unlimited amounts of FTX customer funds. So, it was just a real shock and awe strategy by the prosecutors, and the jury was probably sitting there thinking, how much more do we need to hear about this to, for another 5 weeks? Like, there's all the answers we need to find, everyone guilty. But the cooperating witnesses, they'll get these 5K letters at the end. So it's likely, or it's unlikely that they'll see any time behind bars for the act of their cooperation.
And by 5K letters, you mean the...
Yeah, so in the Southern District of New York, they get the prosecutors will write letters to the judge about the witnesses and say, they can't say exactly like, don't sentence this person, but they can say this person was very cooperative, or they can just talk about the person's behavior. It matters who came into the prosecutors first and who gave the most evidence that was useful. If someone just came in and said the exact same thing that the prosecutors already knew, then it doesn't really help the case. But if they gave them, new information that was able to be used to prosecute, Sam, then that's going to be looked upon very favorably for them.
Caroline Ellison's testimony, it seems, is going to be focused on the idea that Sam Bankman-Fried ultimately made all the decisions at FTX. And it looks like the defense is making the argument that, no, Caroline Ellison made a lot of decisions and they were just terrible. She was really bad with risk management, et cetera. Who do you think would ultimately win that battle?
I think Caroline will, just because of her cooperation and because of the optics. You know, we've read her diary. She admits she wasn't a great leader, and you know, it wasn't her that asked to have that special privilege coded into Alameda, and it wasn't her that went and spent all the customer money frivolously. So, you know, even if she maybe wasn't the right person to be a CEO of a major company like this, why was she put in that position? Well, it seemed to be largely because of their love connection, which, you know, Sam Bankman-Fried is the one that decided to make her CEO of a company that he owned and benefited from, and asked to have a big, you know, $65 billion unlimited line of credit to his other company's customer funds. So I don't see Caroline as the real terrible person here, and I don't think the jury will either.
Sasha, your day job is not necessarily a criminal lawyer, although we're all sort of playing one at the moment. You focus really on helping crypto clients navigate the US regulatory landscape. So tying these two ideas together, you know, what do you think this SBF trial could have on the outlook for regulation?
Well, I think it's already wreaked havoc in the U.S. because the regulators that regulate the banks have pretty much shut down any opportunities for crypto. You know, Silvergate Bank, the one that, you know, came up quite a bit in I think it was one of the earlier testimonies by Adam Yidia, showed, you know, that was the bank for Alameda, and that was on the wire transactions when people were submitting wires to FTX. But you know, Silvergate getting shut down, and you know, pretty much all the banks that operate for crypto have closed. So it's made it a really challenging environment for U.S. companies to operate, whether they're within the securities laws or not. If they don't have access to a bank, you know, it's pretty impossible to do crypto to fiat conversions.